Welcome back for another episode of RBP. I am Ross Bolen, here with Jared Borislow, known in a variety of circles as J-Bone. New nickname alert, though. Jared 2.0 is our co-host today. He is clean-shaven and just got a haircut.
Yeah, I do this about 3 times a year.
It is utterly macabre.
Yeah, I want to keep people on their toes, Ross, like you. Like, if you just look at Mountain Man Beard Jared for a while, you start feeling a little too good about yourself because you're like, look at this ugly fucker.
You want to switch it up?
Yeah. But
now you look like you might actually enjoy it a little too much when I take you out back and spank your tight little ass.
How does being clean shaven and having a haircut make me look like I would enjoy it more when you assault me?
I don't make the rules.
You're saying
just how you look. No, it's that you would enjoy it.
You're saying I'm asking for it now.
No, I'm not victim shaming here. I'm saying you look like you would enjoy a good spanking much more when you're shaven and haircutted. What is that word? What is that adjective? When you've recently had a haircut. Just fresh. You're fresh, Jared.
Is there like some sort of, if you're recently cut as a baby, you're considered circumcised. So
It's a completely different type of cutting.
Oh.
Why are we just all cutting is on the table now? We can just talk about any cutting?
Yes. I think if you're saying I'm recently cut, yes, I am in terms of hair.
Yeah, but I don't think we would use the same adjective, which you're also lacking here. What is the adjective for recently circumcised baby?
Circumcised.
Yeah, but you're not going to go around and say, I just got circumcised because you got a haircut, Jared. That would be mad foolish.
I'm trying to normalize that. There's a stigma with the word circumcision in a lot of circles.
Is the stigma that it specifically pertains to the penis?
Yes.
And you want to change that to where it can mean anything that's been recently cut. So I technically can tell you that my lawn was circumcised today.
Yes, my fingers got circumcised recently. My fingernails, more specifically.
You cut your fingernails? Like a cutter?
I haven't actually in a little bit, but I need to. Yeah. What do? You just chew them?
I've nervously bitten my nails for the better part of 34 years, so they're never long.
How does that work? Is that like an even thing? Like, do you?
Yeah, it's meticulous.
Yeah.
I'm OCD about it. But what sucks, and I'll give you a little inside information here, I'll peel back the curtain and take off my shoes and socks, if you will, is that when you're a habitual nail biter like I am, and your nails stay at a, reasonable length, you forget that nail maintenance is really a thing, and your toenails grow out to be like, Harry and Lloyd and Dumb and Dumber, where somebody has to get out a fucking buzzsaw to trim those things down. And I know this because, as I recently talked about on the show several months ago, I got my first pedicure. And when that woman looked at my feet, I saw a little bit of her life exit her body through her eyes. I saw her soul, a piece of it, just a tiny piece, forever dispersed into the air.
See, you bring up something I never thought about. People who chew their fingernails, why don't you chew your toenails? Is it a flexibility thing?
Oh, for sure. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't.
I've never really seen your feet. You typically always wear socks.
Jared, you and I are the only two people I know that have ever been comfortable in a work environment without shoes on, regardless of what other people think about that. How is it that you haven't seen my feet? If you haven't seen my feet, it's because you've chosen not to look.
I guess you did used to wear flip-flops. Were you a rainbows guy?
Huge rainbows guy. My dad, his fashion, he's not a sneakers guy. He was one of those dads he used to say when we'd go and I'd make him buy me some new Jordans. He'd be like, I haven't spent $100 on shoes in my entire life, and I'm a grown man. And I'd be like, fuck you, Dad, buy me the new J's. And he'd be like, God, none of those other things would happen. But that first part's real. And he exclusively wore Hawaiian shirts or tank tops, not Hawaiian tank tops, just regular ones, with like running shorts and flip-flops to every occasion my whole life, like parent-teacher conferences, funerals, coaching baseball games. He was the head coach of like all my teams growing up. And Coach Steve was known for his fashion, which a main staple of was the flip-flops. So I've been a flip-flop. It's like a weird thing. When I transitioned to sneakerhead, it died off. And now instead of the flip-flops, I have Yeezy slides. So You win some, you lose some.
Would your dad wear flip-flops while being a baseball coach? Like
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
Like, no, I'm not joking. Every activity. Don't bring it up, Jared. The one that you want to bring up. Speaking of hygiene and beauty, according to Cosmo and many posts on my Instagram feed that I was tagged in by you people, Machine Gun Kelly, otherwise known as MGK, recently launched a nail polish line called Undinlekir. It's UN-DN spacebar LAQR.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, suck my tight ass, haters.
So your reasoning here is that people who made fun of you for painting your nails are lame and stupid because Machine Gun Kelly
Is
released
so
it.
cool in the standard of what is okay in society.
Yeah, transitive property, right? If people like weed, then they like Machine Gun Kelly.
Right,
Because
because
Machine
he
Gun
is
Kelly
weed.
is weed.
And weed paints its fingernails. And if you're not cool with that, suck our dicks. But bro, it would blow your mind how many dudes were in my DMs, like upset about this, that I painted my nails. Like straight dudes angry, gay dudes stoked, and then chicks just publicly defending me when I was being attacked and saying it was hot. And I feel like I have to credit every single man that's ever painted their nails before me for the outrageous amount of attention. I just didn't see that coming. Like, I was like, I bet I get a couple weird dudes that are like, what's with your painted nails? But I didn't think it would be like hundreds of people. Hundreds and hundreds of people. Turns out nail polish is a highly controversial thing for men in 2021. And also, homophobia is very, very real. Like, this is the first time I've ever felt it, you know, being straight and all. And holy hell, it's for sure real, and it's weird and toxic. And some people need to worry more about themselves than others. Anyway, shouts to MGK. What's his girlfriend? Megan Fox.
Yeah.
And then they hang out with Travis Barker and one of the Kardashians. Why can't I remember her name?
Chloe.
It's not
Kendall.
No, she's a Jenner.
Oh.
It's the least famous one, and that's why we can't. But it's all, don't they all start with
Kourtney.
Kourtney? There it is. Kourtney
Yes.
Kardashian. You're welcome, everyone who was screaming at your radios. In other news, meme wars have gone from being like a thing that happens between content creators or brands, you know, Doritos and fucking Fritos going back and forth a little bit for some Twitter love with their memeage. Jared informed me today. Breaking news. Meme wars have crossed the threshold from the metaverse into reality. So it turns out things can go both ways. Because, Jared, just tell us what the situation is. You said Russia moved troops to the border of Ukraine.
Yeah, the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, very long, nuanced
Long-standing conflict.
Russia has apparently moved some
Do we have
troops.
a side on this one? You've taken a hard stance on Israel.
I've not taken a hard stance on Israel, nor do I have a hard
you
stance
sure?
on this one.
Okay,
I
just want to be sure.
don't know enough about either conflict's very deep details
Okay,
to want to espouse an opinion on this podcast.
all right.
I'm gonna just
Wise.
say, based on the nature of Vladimir Putin, I'm just gonna guess that Ukraine's in the right on this one.
I feel like it's a hard guess though in this. I just don't know much about Ukraine historically, and typically that doesn't bode well.
I should also note I am half Ukrainian. My entire dad's side of the family, 2 generations back, all from Ukraine.
Do they call you the Ukes?
It sounds offensive, but I can't
It
say
does.
for sure that it is.
Did I just say a slur? It also could be a college mascot. Is that a college?
Well, they used to call me, because I'm Ukrainian and I had. I'm Ukrainian. I used to have a lot of sex, and I like vegetables. They called me the Ute comer. It's like a Ukrainian.
This is why I need a
ejaculate
soundboard because
in a cucumber.
there's no verbal response I can give.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an appropriate response to what
about-
you just said. Laughter, general laughter, the laugh track. Yeah, I could have put that there. I would have chosen back to you, Ross, if that was a thing, but it's not. It's not. Anyway, so yeah, Ukraine's border is being threatened by Russia for the upteenth time. And for the first time in history that I'm aware of, their response so far, as of 7:09 a.m., has been to post a tweet from the official Twitter account of the country of Ukraine with a verified check mark from Jack himself.
At Ukraine.
Before Jack went off. From at Ukraine.
That's such a good handle.
Fucking brilliant. I wonder if they had to buy it from somebody. And it's the meme is types of headaches, and it's the first one, is bad. The second one's worse. The third one's even worse. The fourth one is full-blown. Your whole head's red. The first one says migraine. Second one, hypertension. Third one, stress. Fourth one, full redhead, is living next to Russia.
Yep, there's no caption. It's just straight meme, types of headaches.
Straight meme counterattack.
Types of headaches, worst one is living next to Russia.
It's the internet equivalent of a drone strike with no follow-up message. Like for why you did it. Like no announcement. And in the case of the U.S., it's typically because we accidentally drone struck the wrong people.
So are memes now considered like some sort of war currency? Like it's going to be like...
I think it's look, here's the problem. The Don took the internet and combined it and intertwined it with politics in such a way that it can never be undone. And now, yes, you're going to have meme wars within wars where now what's the point? Well, the point is that it gets the Ukrainian people riled up. That gets the people all types of fired up. Just jacked up beyond belief to be ukes together. Please don't be a slur. Please.
I think I would have heard that one by now.
If it is, we just beep it, right? I mean, we just Google it after the fact, and then every time
there's no way
said
that's a slur.
I'm kind of hoping it is a slur now,
because I'm going to have to go back and bleep it.
It is just beeps, and then people will never know what word I was even saying, and it'd be just great, this great mystery.
I hope that's not a slur.
I know. That's what so I don't even know what to root for at this point.
As a half Ukrainian, I approve you for the purpose of this podcast, not outside these confines, but for this podcast to say ukes.
Being an accidental racist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed for this show just with that word from a half uke. Why are you half everything?
Because I'm half Jewish.
I wish it was that simple for me.
Yeah.
I'm on like 18ths and shit. It's a fucking nightmare when you go into my 23andMe.
So half of me is Ashkenazi Jewish, and then the rest is you.
Just white country, white country, white country. And I'm just like, oh, God damn it. What?
Germany, France, Ireland, England.
None of you ever had the balls to step outside, huh? Bolens?
They
just had
cowards.
Well, let's try a Scottish woman. Fucking A. Holy hell. I guess I'm not doing a great job of breaking the mold so far. I'll try harder. Anyway, Ukraine waging war against Russia via Twitter at Ukraine. Go check it out.
Toss them a follow.
On Twitter, toss them a follow, a retweet, a like, maybe a quote tweet if you feel. Go in there and there's, by the way, the replies are just next level. I mean, the first reply. This is. I just found this out live on the air. Breaking news 2. First reply, most liked and retweeted. You're not alone. What are the odds? That's what it says. And then there's a meme, and it's from Borat, and it says, "This my neighbor, Russia," and it's Borat's neighbor standing there, except it's the Russian flag over his face, and then it goes back to Borat, and it's all the countries surrounding Russia's flags over Borat, and it says, "He's paying in my assholes."
Yep.
402 retweets, 6.1K likes, man.
I saw another response to that tweet.
Almost a ratio.
It's a meme, and it says, "Hey, Ukraine, unblock me on Twitter." Clearly somebody who'd been blocked by Ukraine, I guess, wanted to get unblocked. And then the image along with those words
is just...
is Joseph Stalin doing the T-pose.
What's the T-pose?
It's like a Fortnite thing. Where you just stand still, legs together,
and
straight,
and you
stick your arm straight out and you don't smile.
Is that also a slur?
The T-pose?
A physical slur?
I don't think a T-pose.
Like the Heil? Who knows what you can and can't do? You know they took the fucking three-pointer symbol away from us. Mello invented it. just tap the head 3 times with the 3, and that's a white supremacist thing
no,
now. We can't play the game where we put our fucking 3s below our waist and punch each other in the cocks.
I'm so happy that we canceled the circle game because I always lost.
No one is more happy than you and I. I just know the type of person you and I are. We're not the type of... A lot of dudes, there's lots of types of people, right? All different types of colors and flavors of people. Some people enjoy inflicting pain, physical pain on others. They like punching their friend. I don't know what it is. Some weird guy thing, especially a lot of men. Some part of toxic masculinity where we like beating the shit out of each other. It's been causing wars since time immemorial. But like in high school, when that was a thing, man, I wasn't like getting off on that. I didn't fucking like that. I was getting punched constantly. I always fell for it. I always looked at it. I couldn't break the circle. I wasn't even going to try. I don't want to fucking touch you. Who are you? Why are you punching me? What is this game? It was if you didn't look at the circle, you never knew this because you just lost every time. But if you didn't look at it, but you knew it was there and you broke it, then you got to punch them.
Oh, yeah, I lost before that was a possibility.
But that wasn't even I wasn't I was, oh, great. Now if this moron's doing the circle, and I want to look at it because my brain knows it's there and I want to confirm it's there, so I want to look at it. But I don't want to break it because I really don't want to have to punch him. Fuck it, I'll just take the arm punch. Like, screw that game, man. There's also Ukrainian memes from Batman involving that dog that looks like it's stoned. Just go look at the replies. It's absolute. These memes aren't in languages I can read because I'm uncultured swine.
Cyrillic.
But again, the meme wars have gone international. And they've gone real war with it, which is interesting.
Like, what if like thousands of people die, and this is the meme that caused it all?
It's the last tweet from @Ukraine ever because Russia takes Ukraine, and there is no more Ukraine.
And they take their Twitter.
Damn,
that's nuts.
What's the scale on like joking about the war? How allowed to joke about the war are you during cancel culture?
I think you're pretty allowed to, but there's some areas of it you need to stay away from.
This is what sucks is like as a white American, we probably do more war than like, historically most other existing countries. And I mean, at least in our for per capita years existing. And people historically, internationally don't think of America as a very peaceful country. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I get away with making jokes about this.
I think people think of America as a peaceful country to live in.
Well, sure.
I don't think they think of it as a peaceful country to be attacked by.
We don't spread peace.
Yeah.
I don't think most people see us as a peace-spreading nation.
They'll tell us that's what we're doing.
We like to look at ourselves as a peace-spreading nation. That is the bill of sale when it's explained to you why we invade so many places when you're like 7 and they have to explain war to you.
Because we know what they need.
It's the entire premise for the movie Team America World Police.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Today's episode is also brought to you by Felix Gray Glasses. Felix Gray, they keep your eyes safe from screens with the finest frames my fingers have ever felt. Just phenomenal eyewear, the best in the world, IMO. Jared, you know I like the finer things and what glasses I choose to protect my eyes as I fight children in video games and watch movies every night. They're Felix Grays. I've got the Faradays, the Nash, and on my eyes right now, the West frames. They're on my face. You can see them if you're watching on YouTube.
They call Ross the logo.
One of our clips. They do. I am the Felix Gray logo. No, it's an owl. It's a dope owl. But they also do call me that.
The dope owl?
The dope owl. 5 years ago, Felix Gray realized our eyes weren't meant to look at screens all day and designed glasses to make daily screen time more comfortable and the workday more productive. Screens, Jared, we cannot live without them. But they're burning our fucking eyes out minute by minute, day by day, hour by hour. And that's where Felix Gray steps in and saves all of our fucking lives. There are a lot of blue light glasses on the market. To lump them all together, though, would be like lumping Honda Civics and Teslas together as cars. Felix Grays are the only way to go. Get your pair of Felix Gray glasses made for the 21st century and designed for modern, hardworking eyes. Today, you have nothing to lose except maybe eye strain. Go to felixgrayglasses.com/RBP to support the show for the best blue light glasses on the market. That's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/RBP. Free shipping, free returns, free exchanges. Again, nothing to lose except maybe eye strain. felixgrayglasses.com/RBP. Jared, it looks like we will be joined this Friday by our former colleague and dear friend David Ruff, one of the hosts of the Circling Back podcast, on our exclusive ad-free episode for supporters of the show that we do every Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast. And I saw that Dave and his other hosts on Circling Back recently made a terrible attempt to name the all-time Christmas movies, and it was just they completely failed to mention Muppet Christmas Carol, making the entire thing null and void. So it got me curious. I've done this many times with many co-hosts over the years, but never with you, which is the same thing I tell women before sex. In your opinion, what are the best Christmas movies?
So, I don't watch movies. You all know this. I think they're a waste of time. You should be
watch
learning
documentaries.
Yeah, you should be learning about a real thing that happened. So, as far as Christmas documentaries,
Just insane take. Yes.
Probably The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Like the OG or the Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Okay, that's a terrible answer.
It's a documentary because everybody knows Jim Carrey.
It's a controversial pick by you.
He didn't get vaccinated, and he grew hair. And it's a story about a
Jim
man.
Carrey didn't get you're saying that's how the Grinch came to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He didn't get the rubella.
Everybody knows the Grinch was an anti-vaxxer. Definitely didn't get boosted.
No, but realistically, I don't like Christmas movies. I think they're boring and stupid. Sometimes I'll put Christmas Story on to have on in the background just because it feels Christmassy, but I don't like it.
A Christmas Story?
Yeah.
The one they play for 24 hours on whatever channel?
I'll put that on just because it feels like Christmas, but I don't actually watch it. My fiance's favorite legitimate Christmas movie by a long shot is The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version.
Okay.
In solidarity with her, because we're now recently engaged, I will pick that.
You will soon be one. You will one day be one.
We are not two, we are one.
You're engaged to be one.
Strangers on this road we are on.
And wed. Merrily.
Merrily, 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 life will be but a dream.
Indeed. Okay, so you're not a big Christmas movie guy, but you stand in solidarity with your fiance loving Jim Carrey's The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Yeah, I really couldn't think of a Christmas documentary. There's probably one about a murder on Christmas, but I haven't seen it.
This year, you should make that your Christmas goal. Everybody needs a Christmas goal. It's a thing. And yours should be to find some good Christmas documentaries to recommend to the RBP gang.
On the Docking with Jared segment.
Docking with Jared. There you go. That's your next coming soon on Docking with Jared. So fine, I guess I'll do my the best Christmas movies, and this is a definitive list of the 5 best Christmas movies, okay? I'll put them in my order 1 through 5, but you can mix them and match them any way you want. There's no arguing about this. These are the 5 best Christmas movies that exist, and technically there are 6. We'll get to that in a moment. My number 1, I've already said. It's the best Christmas movie ever made. It's Muppet Christmas Carol. And people go, oh, it's Muppets. What are you, a child? No, I'm a 34-year-old man. I'm a grown man. I'm almost 40. Muppet Christmas Carol is incredible. Michael Caine. Don't disrespect Michael Caine.
Who does he play?
He plays Scrooge. He's one of like 3 random humans. They always pick a few random characters to be human in the Muppet movies. Is this where my furry thing came from?
It must be.
Because I love the Muppets so much?
It seriously must be.
I think it really must be. It's a combination of 2 things, Jared. My furry obsession, not fetish, my obsession with the fetish itself, came from Chuck E. Cheese and the animatronic fucking band, and then, not literally fucking, but that's the furry way, and then Muppets. I love the Muppets, but that's a puppet thing. It's not a furry thing. You're puppeting. But see, that's where there's a lot of confusion because Big Bird's not a puppet. That's a motherfucker.
Okay, Ross, a Muppet is just a furry with a hand up its ass, which is, it turns out, many furries.
But that's what I'm saying. Big Bird doesn't have a hand up his ass.
Well,
that's a human being.
At the convention.
Dressed as a big bird. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't a version of Big Bird that can't have a hand up its ass. There certainly is. But the Muppets are confusing because Muppet clearly means, is it monster puppet? What does Muppet stand for?
Yeah, it's a something puppet, certainly.
But Big Bird's not a puppet. And that's where, and Elmo, I guess he's a puppet. Elmo's a puppet.
Elmo's definitely a puppet. Also, you're combining Sesame Street and Muppets now.
Big Bird's on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Are all of the Muppets puppets?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
The Muppets are puppets.
Cool. Okay, the Muppets are puppets, but on Sesame Street, you don't have to have a hand up your ass.
But you can have a hand up your ass.
But you can have a hand up your ass if you want. But but you're also allowed to walk freely on your own legs if you want to be a big bird. Man, it is confusing, but I wasn't a big Sesame Street guy, huge Muppet guy, so it makes even less sense. But Muppets combined with Chuck E. Cheese led to me bringing up furries every 3.6 episodes for the past 2 years.
You claim you're not a furry. You're obsessed with people who are furries.
And the lifestyle that accompanies it, including having many, many, many semi-automatic weapons.
I forgot about that. Go check out a recent episode.
How could you forget about that?
The furries are some of the most heavily strapped paramilitary groups in America.
Never forget that the furries are strapped like a motherfucker. It's an important element of furryism. Oh, look at the cute, cuddly Care Bear. Oh, my God, there's an AR-15 on its back that's covered in anime stickers. Yeah, that's the life.
Do you think that the armorer who messed up Alec Baldwin's gun was potentially a furry?
I can't believe this cat's trying to get out of this by saying it was something wrong with the gun.
No. I watched the first half of the interview because I had to know because I love this story. I think Alec Baldwin's such a shithead that I need to know like what happened.
Yeah.
I will say this, George Stephanopoulos wronged Alec Baldwin. Okay. Now, not really George. George did a line of questioning. By all means, his questioning was...
Was he conducting the interview, George Stephanopoulos?
He was. By all means, it was classic line of questioning you'd expect from some shitty corporate news company shill.
I mean, what I would expect him to ask Alec Baldwin was, did you shoot that woman?
Yeah, and that happened. But the clips to get you to watch the special...
Yeah, I always do this.
The only clip they used was Alec Baldwin going, I didn't pull the trigger. And then they cut away. So people go, holy shit, Alec Baldwin's denying he did it. And then
they make all the clickbait headlines,
Yes.
and then nobody watches the actual video.
So I watched it.
And then I come on the show, and thank God you're here.
Here's what happened. He claims that the Helena Hutchins was like right in front of him looking at the like monitor saying, all right, move the gun up, move it to the left. Okay. And in that scene, when it actually was being filmed, he's supposed to cock the hammer of the gun back, with his finger.
Right.
Or like with his other hand, whatever. Cock the hammer back. So he was like practicing cocking the hammer back, and she's like, okay, you can let the hammer down. He let the hammer go.
And
the hammer fired. So he didn't pull the trigger, but the hammer went down,
fired the
hit the bullet. There happened to be a live bullet.
Which is still the weird part.
Exactly. Realistically,
he didn't change the story much, though. It's just that the gun didn't go off the way you would have expected, which is that he pulled the trigger directly pointing it at this woman.
Yes.
It's that he dropped the hammer, and the hammer accidentally fired the weapon, which he didn't know would happen, or obviously think would happen, there, and that there was a live round involved is still a massive mystery to me.
Yes.
Why that would be.
But he's not denying the gun was in his hand and he caused her to be shot. He's just saying he didn't pull the trigger.
And to be clear, Alec Baldwin, to my knowledge, not a furry, and I'm not trying to put this on the furries at all. At all. Furries, low-key gangster. I'm not trying to upset them. How is this a segment about Christmas movies? Okay, so here's my definitive top 5.
So you had Muppet, whatever.
Number 1, Muppet Christmas Carol, which spiraled into a 7-minute furry conversation. Number 2, Bad Santa. Just an unbelievably good black comedy that also has all of the elements of a great Christmas movie. It's centered around the Christmas holidays. The main character is a Santa in the mall who is an alcoholic, degenerate sex addict, played by Billy Bob Thornton. It is utterly hysterical. Number 3, Home Alone, plus Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. And people are like, you can't take one slot. Go fuck yourself. I'm not picking one or the other or making some weird argument. They're both phenomenal in their own right, and they're very, very good in different ways. And I love the second one for a lot of reasons, like the New York setting. But I love the first one because it's the OG, and I'm slotting them both in at number 3.
See, people think that you are like this crazy guy who hates everything about Donald Trump. You just put a Donald Trump movie in your top 5 Christmas movies.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you. People never point out the right side. What do we call them? They call the left the libs.
You're a libcuck.
That's what they call me, but I don't even occupy that space. But I do know who does.
Yeah. They call you a libcuck.
Right. What do we call them? Because the Nazis is just is not fun or accurate.
I've heard cuckservatives.
Cuckservatives?
So just more cucking.
Huh. What was our point about them?
So they think you hate Donald Trump, and you picked a Donald Trump movie.
They think I hate Trump so much. No, I hate President Trump.
Great actor.
Trump the entertainer was fucking hysterical. Trump the business owner / president, I'm not so much a fan of. But yes, Jared, thank you. I just put a Donald Trump film to my knowledge, the only actual legitimate Donald Trump film that's not a documentary about him or some self-produced crap to promote Mar-a-Lago or something that exists in my top 5 Christmas movies ever.
I can think of one more Donald Trump movie.
What?
And it's one of your favorites.
What is it?
That you forgot he had a cameo in. Zoolander.
Wow. Zoolander. Another one of my favorite movies ever. One of my favorite comedies of all time. Not a Christmas movie. Why do I want to say he's in Little Rascals as well? I don't think he is.
I think you're just mixing together the scene from Home Alone too.
No, that's in the lobby of the
Macy's?
Macy's? What? No, the most famous hotel in New York, the Plaza Hotel. Gesundheit.
That was aggressive.
What language is Gesundheit? German?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only German word I know other than da and oh man, that's it, I think.
Guten Tag.
What's that mean?
Well, thank you? Thank you.
Thank you? Guten Tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a thank you. Sounds like a thank you. Anyway, number 4, It's a Wonderful Life. You got to throw one of the old school ones in there, one of the black and whites. You're trying not to sneeze again, aren't you, Jared? Oh, you couldn't do it.
I couldn't do
you
it.
You poor bastard. You tried. You tried his best, folks. It's a Wonderful Life. You got to get one of the black and white films in there. Most of the other ones are super lame. Like people throw in like Miracle on 31st Street and shit. And I'm like, the movie has to be legitimately good. It can't just be about Christmas and then suck ass. It's like me putting Jingle All the Way on here. It's about Christmas, but come on. It's fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad jacking off for an hour and 45 minutes. Nobody needs to see that. It's ridiculous.
Do you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
No. We've had this argument on the show before with past co-hosts as well. This is a Christmas movie has to be about Christmas. It can't just occur during Christmas. It has to have Christmas-related themes. And in the case of Die Hard, that's an action film that just happens to occur during Christmas. I know they insert some elements of Christmas and the holidays. I do not think it counts, and I know there is a large group of people who thinks otherwise. But no, Die Hard, by definition for me personally, not a Christmas movie. Doesn't have any elements of like, so Bad Santa, for instance. It's got lessons about how even an alcoholic, degenerate sex addict, Billy Bob Thornton, can be a father figure for a small, morbidly obese child who has survived and grown into a full-blown man who is still quite large. But okay. And they made a second one, which I will never watch because I would never do that. I'd never watch Zoolander 2. I will never watch Bad Santa 2. I'm not that stupid. I never watched Dumb and Dumberer. The people who have, I feel pity for them. Almost as much pity as I feel for Jared as I watch him desperately trying to fight off another sneeze. He just doesn't know what his face looks like. It might melt off. We have to clip the last 5 minutes of the show, and just the things that your face is doing to avoid a sneeze it's Olympic level gymnastics.
I'm usually pretty good at not
facial gymnastics,
causing distractions in the studio, but 2 sneezes.
What do you think? You just every episode you take out your dick and start stroking it. You're just gonna pretend you're sitting in here professionally doing the podcast every episode. This is the first time you've ever done something unprofessional by sneezing when you're constantly cranking.
Well, whatever.
It's a good thing this is filmed so that you can deny my allegations. Otherwise, it'd be awkward. Your arms are currently crossed.
Yeah.
So it'd be hard to crank.
So I've thought there's another Christmas movie.
Hold on, I didn't even do number 5 yet.
Well, before you get to it.
Well, you've already said my number 5 anyway, so go ahead.
Oh. Well, what was it?
It was A Christmas Story.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll get to that in a second, though.
I was making sure that you weren't including the Santa Claus movie.
What, I look like an idiot?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, listen. Santa Claus is a fine Christmas film. But similar to the way that I will not listen to R. Kelly because I cannot support someone of that low moral character, I will not watch the Santa Claus starring that rat bastard Tim Allen because it's about principle, man. There are people that served years and years and years and to my knowledge are still serving years of their lives behind bars in prison because Tim Allen is the Tekashi 6ix9ine of the 70s and we didn't even know it. We didn't even know it, man, but he rolled on everybody, man. Tim got people locked up. In all them years of Home Improvement that I watched, this man was an idol to me. And then I grow up and find out he's just another fucking rat. Never rat on your friends, Jared. Don't be like Tim. The rat bastard Alan. And now I can't even put the Santa Claus on my Christmas movie list. But A Christmas Story is on there. My dad, growing up, one of the traditions of the Bam Margera family household. Let's take it to somewhere really dark and talk Bam Margera for a few minutes, shall we? Let's get to Bam, a Bam update. No, Bolen Media household. No, Bolen. Just the Bolen household when I was growing up. Fuck. My dad would put on A Christmas Story marathon, and we weren't allowed to change a channel. And it was like a thing, like on the 6th playthrough, we'd get up at 8 a.m., he'd cook breakfast, great breakfast, eggs, bacon, classic breakfast stuff, waffles, pancakes, fucking amazing. We would do our stockings first, open presents, and then if anybody changed the channel, he would flip out. So it would be on like the 6th playthrough, and my mom would be like, I'm going to change the channel. We're all losing our minds, and we've seen this movie literally hundreds of times at this point. Not just today, but every freaking Christmas for years and years and years. And the build-up over time, and it eventually became like a thing. It may have ended their marriage. It may have been the reason they got divorced, because my dad refused to change the channel on Christmas. Something else to discuss with my therapist.
Yeah, it's I've seen that entire movie 10 times, but never front to end.
I've seen it, so it's one of those ones where if you turned it on right now, I could probably do it like line for line. My favorite scene, for those wondering, in A Christmas Story is either when he comes downstairs in the pink nightmare bunny outfit, or when the Bumpuses, their neighbors' dogs, get in and eat the Christmas turkey that forces them to go then have duck at a Chinese restaurant. And the dad yells out, he comes down, he sees what happens, and all the hounds are running around and barking and leaving the house, and he yells out, "Bumpuses! Sons of bitches!" And it's just all time, dude. And the moment, and when their furnace goes out and the dad goes down into the furnace and he's cursing like a sailor, and the kid is narrating and he's talking about how his old man uses curse words like a painter might use, or how an artist might use clay, or a painter might use tapestry, or whatever the fuck. It's like this incredible line. God, that movie's good. And that's why it's my number 5. Muppet Christmas Carol, Bad Santa, Home Alone 1 and 2. And yes, I can slot them in one slot. It's a Wonderful Life, A Christmas Story. That's my definitive top 5, inarguable.
I went as Ralphie every year in college for Halloween. I had the pink bunny costume.
I knew this about you, actually.
Yeah, and then if you're wondering, no, I never shot anybody's eye out.
Did you shoot your own eye out?
Yes.
You'll shoot your eye out. This episode of RBP is also brought to you by Cuts Clothing, as seen on the world's elite athletes like Patrick Mahomes, Damian Lillard, Tim Tebow, and Bryce Harper, just to name a few. The sport of business means demanding excellence from your craft and wardrobe. Your fits need to be versatile, blending timeless style and comfort so that you look as good as you feel. And for that, there's Cuts Clothing, the best t-shirts in the game. I'm wearing them 3 to 5 times a week. Y'all have seen them on me a lot of the time when I'm on Twitch at night, on many, many episodes of this show. I love Cuts. They're awesome. I've got their tees in every color. I've got several of their hoodies. And now they also have outerwear. They became famous for making what is known as the only shirt worth wearing, according to GQ. The perfect t-shirt accomplished. And now, phenomenal outerwear as well. I'm a huge fan of the new bomber jackets. The power vest is there for those of you who desire power. The Sherpa full zip is quite baller. And we have reached the point officially where you could literally wear Cuts and Cuts only for every layer of your outfit, pants, shirt, jacket, or vest, and legitimately look good. Cuts, it's not just a lifestyle. It's not just clothing. It's work, leisure, apparel for the sport of business. Get 15% off your first order at cutsclothing.com/RBP. That's cutsclothing.com/RBP for 15% off your first order, spelled CUTS, cutsclothing.com/RBP. And remember, this holiday season, as you're looking for, you're doing your shopping, your present shopping for your family for the holidays, keep our sponsors in mind. Use those codes, save that money.
Oh, yeah.
Use our codes. If they're like, we've got a code, fuck their code. Use our code. Even if it saves you an extra 5%, that 5% is costing the show representation when you make a purchase. Just something to keep in mind. You can go either way. Save yourself the money if you want. But if you'd rather be supporting the show and it's important to you to make sure you're supporting the podcast, use our codes, use our URLs, make sure that they know we sent you from the Ross Bolen podcast. Jared, I've got a insane headline of the day that I'm very excited to discuss from CNN. Better.com CEO fires 900 employees over Zoom. Now, I have a friend that runs a business, and he has many, many employees, and I guess I won't get into specifics, but he's the CEO. He's the founder and CEO. It's a much larger company than Bolen Media. He's been doing it for a few more years, and it operates on a massive scale that is like my feeble brain. There's a reason I don't call myself a CEO, all right? I don't have any fucking label, and that's because I'm a creative, and I do podcasting and creating, and I am not some business mind who's gonna like, I know how to do certain things, but like, I'm like, Jared and I have talked about this ad nauseum. There's gonna be a point where I hand the reins business-wise to somebody who can handle the scope of what we're trying to build on a business level. That's not my skill set. It would be fucking stupid for me to try to do that. But this dude that I know has a large business already. It's complicated. He's had to do multiple rounds of fundraising. He knows all that crazy shit, that whole world. And he sends me this text in a text message the second it breaks, because he's like obsessing over the story. Like, this is so crazy to him. You know, I watched the video, the Zoom firing, as I think a lot of people probably have. And if you haven't, feel free to pause the show, go watch it, and come right back. It's fucking bizarre. You can just get the cliff notes from like the CNN story or whatever. You don't need to watch the whole video if you don't want to. But the dude hops on Zoom. He sends out a Zoom meeting, all right, to 900 employees, okay, for Better Health, or for Better.com. Almost threw our sponsor under the bus. For Better.com. Unrelated to any company that might sound like that that's a sponsor of ours. Better.com. Never been a sponsor of RBP and never will be. Saying it definitively now. Taking a stance. I'm a hero.
They're like some sort of real estate mortgage lender or some shit.
Yeah, who cares? But he sends out a email. All right, here's a Zoom meeting we're having to 900 employees, and they all join the meeting. And a lot of them are already suspicious, so some of them are filming it or recording it, and that's how this went viral. Because the meeting unfolds very simply. He's sitting in like his kitchen or an area of his house that is made to look more humble than I know the rest of the residents to be. Let me just put it that way.
And what you need to picture, if you didn't watch the video, the camera is at the height of his penis.
Yes. And I think he's sitting legs crossed.
No, his legs are open.
Oh, his legs are open? Okay, power stance, power sitting. And he's like, hey, everybody, you know, I've had to do this before, and I cried when I did. I hope this time I don't cry, for my sake. But if you're on this call, oh no, he says first, so he tees it up. He's like, we've had to make some hard decisions as a result of, and he starts listing things. He's like, revenue, the pandemic, performance. He slides that one in there. He's like, oh, a lot of you sucked. But we've had to make some hard decisions, and we're having to cut 15% of our workforce. And unfortunately, if you are on this Zoom call today, you are one of the unlucky being let go. You will receive a follow-up email with your severance package and your whatever the fuck. And it is just like the video I watched, the guy filming it goes, fuck you, man. Like, he's so pissed, right? It's December. It's the holiday season at the end of the year during the second year of a international pandemic that has destroyed the routine of not only corporate America, but every living human being on the planet. And they're laying off 15% of their workforce via Zoom call to 900. That's the impersonal nature of this is the issue at hand. To fire 900 hardworking employees over Zoom with one stroke of the pen, with one swing of the sword, is insanely disrespectful.
Well, you say hardworking. I don't know if you were listening to the CEO. Fortune later reported that the CEO accused the employees of stealing from their colleagues and customers by being unproductive and only working 2 hours a day.
Time theft, Jared. It's a real problem. Here's the quote. If you're on this call, you are part of the unlucky group that is being laid off. So to even use that adjective, unlucky, as if it was a fucking dice roll for each person, is already a terrible start to the call. Your employment here is terminated effective immediately. I love how he has to sneak the legal, it's always funny to watch. I've had to watch some layoffs, unfortunately, and it's funny to watch the CEO slide in the couple few things he has to say for HR. And that is one of them. Your termination here is effective immediately, you're no longer working here. Yeah, he cited market efficiency, performance, and productivity as the reason behind the firings. So it basically just went, you all sucked. And so he goes, this is the second time in my career I'm doing this, and I do not want to do this. The last time I did it, I cried. And everyone watching is like, we're the ones being fired. You selfish prick. But he's been involved in controversy before. Apparently, he sent an email to staff obtained by Forbes that said, you are, all caps, too damn slow. You are a bunch of, all caps, dumb dolphins. So stop it. Stop it. Stop it right now. You're embarrassing me, he wrote. A bunch of dumb dolphins.
Dolphins are one of the smartest
animal in the sea. What the fuck's wrong with this guy? He's clearly an idiot. Dolphin will also fuck your brains out. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Every time you enter the ocean, just remember, Flipper's out there, and he's coming for your 2-hole. And if you're a woman and you're like, what about my 1-hole? He doesn't want that. He wants the 2-hole. He's Flipper, and he only does anal. Anyway, the Daily Beast reported in August that one of Garg's, this is the name, guy's last name is Garg. Can you fucking imagine going through life? Garg. My name sounds like the noise that happens when you choke on something. A dick specifically. Garg. Garg's most loyal lieutenants received massive perks such as millions of dollars worth of stock options that could be vested immediately, not comparable to other employees. The person was later placed on administrative leave for bullying. One of his most loyal lieutenants was the one who received these massive perks and got put on administrative leave. Anyway, the dude mishandled this on just a historical scale. And for everybody that's ever worked at either a very large company or that has owned or operated a small business, it's one of those stories where you're just like, man, it is crazy how disconnected and impersonal some business interactions in the United States can become. Where obviously there's been many movies and books written about this, and the culture of this is gotten better and better as we've gotten further and further away from the 90s, but it became very robotic. I mean, it was like you're seen as just this number on it, you're an employee number sort of thing. And there was no personality to it. And this guy is sort of the like, that's, it's like, it's how every 6 minutes now you see a story that reminds you racism exists. And you're like, God damn. This is the thing that reminds you that like this guy, this type of fucker is still out there in charge of thousands and thousands of people's livelihoods. And he's like, let's just fire off a Zoom call and axe 900 of these assholes at once. It's their fault we're here anyway. Everything always says it's leadership.
Time theft.
Leadership's who it falls on. But yeah, time theft is a thing. Cade.
The silent killer. Silent crime? You say Cade?
I'm just fucking with you. He works his ass off. There's another thing I want to discuss, so I'm just going to move on. That's my transition. What does Bing Bong mean?
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
I said it a lot on the previous episode.
Yeah, Jared got into it last episode, and we kind of just chose to save the discussion about Bing Bong for this episode. It's now a soundbite on our soundboard as well. It is being used heavily by me when I'm live on Twitch as well, and has swept the entire nation, taken over TikTok. It started in New York. It shouts to the Northeast where many things begin in New York and then are destroyed by the rest of the country. And by the time they get to California, they're dead. That's what a lot of people say that are from New York. So Jared and I did some research into Bing Bong and its roots. And
Bing Bong.
We're doing the hard work that no one else will do. And it turns out this has been a thing on Side Talk, which is like a show, I think, radio show.
So are you familiar with like All Gas, No Breaks or like Billy on the Street? Mm-hmm. These shows where somebody goes and just talks to strangers.
Yeah,
on the
interviews
street.
Random people.
Side Talk is that. It's like a 1-minute show in New York City where these people just interview random New Yorkers on the street. And a lot of times these people, when you put a camera and a mic in front of them,
they say crazy shit.
They say crazy things.
So they used the Bing Bong sound for years prior to this moment where it's now having this viral fame.
But not the verbalized version.
Not the verbalized version. the actual Bing Bong sound, which is the sound played by MTA trains when they're alerting riders to stand clear of the door. So the trains in New York, when they're alerting riders to stand clear of the door, go Bing Bong, but they don't say Bing Bong.
It sounds more like
they go Bong Bong Bing Bong. Yeah, around those lines. So the verbalized version is the thing that only recently started to go, like in 2019, it started to become a trend on social media, apparently. I don't know if the pandemic then sidelined it and then it made its way back in now that we're coming out. But the last several weeks, it has full-blown taken over every social media platform I am on. I've seen clips, including Bing Bong. The first person to vocalize the sound in a Side Talk episode was Brooklyn-based rapper Nims, who said it during the April 10th, 2021 episode of the show titled Coney Island's Finest. So like the Side Talk creator Trent Simonian said, credit to Nims on that one. He kind of turned it from the intro thing into a catchphrase of his, but again, originating on Side Talk. And then so many fans were reciting Bing Bong. Then really, it's when the Knicks started this NBA season. The New York Knicks started this season, and the Knicks, for anybody who pays attention to the NBA, you know, they're sort of like the Browns or the Jets, or like in baseball, there's a historically shitty team exist. Like it's just always awful. They're always the worst.
Well,
like the Knicks have always sucked ass, is my point. They won championships way back in the whenever the fuck.
Oh, the Tigers.
But like Patrick Ewing, no rings. Hakeem Olajuwon was in the way. Like Spike Lee's whole fucking life. The Detroit Tigers.
Yes, they're terrible.
Okay,
I think they're the biggest playoff drought.
I hope Carlos continues to not sign there. I think they already signed 2 shortstops, so we're good. But what was I saying?
Well, you're saying there's teams that's like the Knicks are that. In the
the
NBA.
Knicks are just trash, man. They're just garbage.
Are they that bad? So they have
Yes.
RJ Barrett.
Dude, they've tried every variety of every terrible move. They have horrible ownership is the problem. They just make awful moves. They're Texans-esque. Very Texans-esque at this point. I'm sorry to Browns fans. That was disrespectful. I should use my own team now. Y'all are an actual franchise that gets wins and has an actual future of some sorts and makes correct decisions like cutting players that need to be cut so that your team gets better instead of cutting guys who are just leaders trying to stand up against the shitty coaches that you've put in the locker room. Because that's what the Texans do. So I apologize. But yeah, the Knicks are shit. So they came out of the gate hot this season, and Knicks fans were going berserk. As we've discussed many times on this show, the energy in sporting arenas and at live events has been bonkers since the pandemic has started to wind down and people have been vaccinated and stuff. Obviously, we know COVID is not over, and there's still other waves and variations, and it's a fucking nightmare out there. But that being said, this other thing is still true too. And so after the game, you know how they'll do an interview with like some of the fans, like, what was the game like? And there's like a bunch of other fans in the background yelling shit. And one dude closed out this little interview. He just goes, Bing Bong. And like that was one of the first versions I saw make it to the Instagram for me, where I was like, what the fuck did he just say? And why did I enjoy it so much? Did he just say Bing Bong? What the hell is Bing Bong?
So when I was hearing Bing Bong recently, I thought it was that Donald Trump quote coming back. Because Donald Trump was saying, he's like, oh, politics is all bullshit. All they do is just talk to each other, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, and then nothing gets accomplished. Like that was what I knew Bing Bong as, was a Donald Trump quote.
I did not know it as that at all.
Yeah. So
I would give him zero credit here.
Well, he was the original Bing Bong.
No. You can't definitively say that Trump was the original Bing Bong.
Trump was the original Bing Bong.
You're taking Bing Bong from Side Talk and giving it to the Don.
Yes. Because the Don said it before April 10th, 2021, which is the first time it was vocalized. So,
oh my God,
I
have a hard time with what you're trying to credit.
Just saying
our former president with here. But regardless, it got so big, the Knicks started putting it on the jumbotron during games, like it would say Bing Bong, so that everybody would say Bing Bong. And my personal favorite Bing Bong viral clip to go viral so far is this dude in a construction hat. It's a black dude in a construction hat, orange construction hat, and he's holding 2 very cute small dogs, inexplicably. Like, I don't know why he's on a construction site holding these 2 cute small dogs, and it gets weirder from here, so just brace yourself. Because his quote is, if you see these dogs in your front yard, just know upstairs I'm going hard. Bing Bong. And I lose it every time I watch it. I do not know why. It's because it makes no fucking sense logically. So then, like, Jared and I are analyzing this. We're talking about it off mic. Like, this is consumed our days. Like this whole situation with this particular Bing Bong incident. And is he saying that if you get home from work and you see these two small puppies just canoodling in your front yard, that means this guy's upstairs with his hard hat on plowing your wife?
Yes.
But why? Why doesn't he take the dogs inside with him?
They're not small enough to be in a front yard alone.
They can't be left to their own devices. They're going to run into the road. Is there a shot collar situation? Where'd the dogs come from? Why do the puppies have to be involved at all?
It's like his calling card.
How is that the calling card you choose, though? I'm going to get 2 puppies from the fucking pound, and I'm going to set them in anybody. If I ever bang out anybody's girl, I'm setting them down in the front yard. And then if I ever get a chance to tell anybody this, I'm going to say into a microphone, into a camera, if you see these dogs in your front yard, just know upstairs I'm going hard. Bing bong. And why upstairs? If the dogs are in the front yard, why not stay downstairs closer to the dogs? At least get an eye out the window. That way, maybe if one dog makes a break for the road, you can get out in time to stop him, even if your butt-ass didn't have a heart on.
What if there's like a stoop, though? What if it's a 1-story house and there's a stoop? Technically, then it's upstairs still. It's up like 3 stairs, but it's still upstairs.
Call that a front yard, New Yorkers? Y'all call a stoop a front yard still? I mean, I guess I probably would.
If you see these dogs in your front yard,
just know upstairs I'm going hard. Bing bong. And it's the fucking attitude he hits the bing bong with where you're just like, you believe him. That's the thing. Like every single person who's watched that video, male, female, doesn't matter. You watch that video and you went, I really fucking hope I never see those 2 dogs in my front yard.
I do not want to see them.
I don't want to see those 2 dogs anywhere near my front yard. If I see them being walked down the street in the direction of my front yard, I'm getting home as quickly as possible to protect my wife who left me.
Like the Ring doorbell is important here, right?
This is actually the guy that broke up our marriage, the Bing Bong guy. Little known fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
You saw the dogs in your front yard?
A lot revealed here.
And you knew what was going on upstairs.
Bing Bong. We don't even have a second floor. It's not even a second floor. Fucking A.
What legendary Bing Bong?
Oh my God, just next level. But yeah, so the Bing Bong thing originated on this radio show, came from the sound the trains play when they need people to clear the door, vocalized by Nims, and then made legendary forever by the gentleman in the hard hat with 2 adorable puppies who will fuck the shit out of your loved one. Bing bong. Today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by MyBookie. Why take a chance at investing in stocks when you can double your money instantly with MyBookie? You can't predict when a hunch will pay off, but use your promo code RBP at MyBookie, and I guarantee you will double your first deposit, all the way up to $1,000. Stipulations apply. The best part is MyBookie accepts everything from credit card to well-known cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, so you can bet and withdraw with crypto if you want to. This Saturday, the UFC is closing out 2021 with a bang, with 2 world title fights going down at UFC 269. Nice. Headlined by the lightweight championship fight between Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. This fight amounts to a coin flip, but both men have finish rates of over 75%. So you know this isn't going to be one that goes to the scorecards.
These guys love to finish.
They just throw, Jared. They just want to throw at each other and finish.
They're going to finish each other.
One of them is going to be finished by the other.
Well, what if they finish each other at the same time?
They may finish each other at the same time. It's happened before, and they may finish each other at the same time, achieving finish together as one.
It's a sign of
before. But
fun.
I'm telling you, this is happening before the rounds are all over. Like somebody's going down. So don't miss out. Double your first deposit up to $1,000 when you go to MyBookie.ag and sign up today using the promo code RBP. Again, double your first deposit up to $1,000. Stipulations apply. MyBookie today. Place your bets. Watch the sparks fly with UFC 269 and bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag, our sports betting sponsor here at RBP. Using the code RBP when you sign up to let them know we sent you and get that deposit bonus. Stipulations apply.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. Jared, every once in a while, there's a moment where a lot of major video games have an update or a new release at the same time. And it's just a huge gaming week where Twitch is crazy and YouTube gaming is crazy and everybody's obsessing and all the kids are talking and also the adults who never let go of this habit or what I would call a healthy hobby. But I've been told otherwise by others. this week is one of those weeks. Today is one of those days, specifically December 7th, the day we are recording this episode. Apex Legends, which I'll just start with because it is my favorite video game still right now. It's the one I've grinded for 1,000 hours during the pandemic, not an exaggeration. And it really kept me afloat during some of like the hardest mental health times I had to endure when I was alone in the house, pre-J-Bone, pre-girlfriend, pre-all that shit, bro. Like Apex was my shit that kept me from being so like, I didn't want to sit in the pain all the time. I wanted to play. And I met so many of our listeners through Twitch, either in the chat or by playing Apex with them. It's how Chris ended up being our co-host for a time. So the game has played an important part in my life, and it has a big update today where, get this, my character, Pathfinder, I'm a robot, Pathfinder, it's my main, gets to be a pirate. There's some kind of pirate-themed costumage coming out, and I'm very excited for this pirate. And there's an update involving the game types and such, but I don't really give a fuck about that. I just want that pirate skin. That's what it's called. The outfits in video games, for those who don't play, they're called skins, which is a little weird, but it is what it is. But there's an even bigger news. There is Verdansk. Wait, no, is it Verdansk?
Well, so what's happening is this. Yeah,
this is very confusing.
Okay, so there is...
Again, branding for this company in particular, Activision /
Blizzard slash Raven
slash
Mike Ubisoft.
There's like 3 other ones. Yeah.
Whatever, who cares?
You really just did a great job of hitting at least 4. Are all involved in the production of the Call of Duty, Warzone,
Infinity,
Modern Warfare
whatever.
franchise.
All I know is this. I do not buy the games anymore because I liked Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare was fun multiplayer. Cold War was so unfun, I vowed to never again buy a full Call of Duty game. I'm only going to play the Battle Royale version.
Cold War was mostly seen as a flop, I think. Yeah.
So Vanguard is coming out, some sort of World War II thing. Don't care. Not buying it. But after over 2 years.
So Vanguard is not freemium.
No, Vanguard is a pay game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm absolutely not buying that, dude.
After like 2 years, they are finally really updating the Warzone map. And by that I mean, one time they updated it, it made it go back to like 1980 or some shit.
Right. I remember that.
When we all thought we were getting a new map. They're actually giving us a completely new map, entirely new. It's an island. Instead of the Verdansk, which is clearly some shitty Eastern European city, probably about to get invaded by Russia.
No offense, Ukes.
No offense, Ukes. And maybe offense for that. We don't know. It is an island in the Pacific called Caldera.
Caldera, okay. And what's this big selling point? What's cool about this new map on whatever?
I mean, mostly that
what's
it's
it
new.
called? What's the game called?
It's just Warzone Pacific.
Warzone Pacific.
Like
do you have to buy a new game?
No, just an update for Warzone.
Update for Warzone. Okay, so the one that you've always loved and stuck with and refused to play anything else because you're weird about it, honestly.
I got.
You popped into the stream last night when we were playing Apex Legends. We're gonna go play Halo, and you refused both and then went back to Warzone. You were just trying to get us to go to Warzone.
Yeah.
Well, I don't play Warzone.
Okay.
Come play one of these other games with me. I will download this new map and be live on Twitch playing it over the next couple days and nights. And if you join me, I would love that, Jared. It would mean a lot to me.
Let's do it.
If you would be there.
Get on there, cut.
And it's called...
I mean, it literally just update your
Warzone.
Warzone. It'll be called Warzone Pacific. The island itself is called Caldera.
Caldera.
It's going to be totally new. Nobody's going to know.
A lot of new guns, I'm assuming. A lot of new stuff.
Probably
I'm
new
assuming.
guns. Definitely. I mean, learning the new map's going to be hell because it takes a long time to learn these maps.
So again, another huge video game drop, this probably being the biggest of the day, that is going to get a ton of people on Twitch, and just every time there is one of these stars align, huge video gaming moments, weeks, whatever. Fortnite also just did an enormous update, chapter 492
chapter
or whatever
3
they're on.
somehow, which confuses me.
I don't know what
How are they on chapter 3?
Are there chapters within the sub-chapters?
Yes.
But yeah, Cypher PK, former guest of the show, who's one of the biggest Fortnite streamers in the world, just broke his own personal record. He had like 246,000 people watching him play Fortnite at one time. Can you believe that?
It's pretty.
I guess it was maybe over the course of the stream, 246,000 individual people tuned in.
No, that was concurrent.
Oh, that was concurrent.
I think so.
Fucking either way, it really doesn't matter. It's an absurd number of humans. You know what? It had to have been concurrent, now that I'm thinking about it. It definitely was. And anyway, so Fortnite has this insane job. Also, they've canceled Travis Scott in their own metaverse. You cannot get the Travis Scott skin anymore, which is so...
What if you bought it?
So funny. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm assuming they have to let you play with it if you bought it, but that you cannot purchase it anymore, and they're no longer making it like a part of their partnership. It's the thing I've laid out. I laid out on Banging the Can was like the Rockets. Travis Scott is their Drake a la Toronto Raptors. I don't see him being promoted a lot of the games this year. I don't think there's going to be like Travis Scott night. You know what I'm saying? But to get back to the game, so you got the huge Fortnite update. You've got Apex Legends update. You've got the new Warzone Pacific. Halo Infinite is out in its beta form, which I've been obsessing over. If you grew up playing Halo, you'd love it. And if you don't play video games anymore and you're just like, I would like to see some of this, Jared and I play a lot. I play a lot. And I play live where you can tune in and watch me play as I play and type in the chat and I can respond to you on twitch.tv/bossrollin, which is Ross Bolen with the B and the R reverse. Twitch.tv/bossrollin. Go throw it a follow now. Subscribe to support the show, to support Bolen Media. If you have Amazon Prime, it costs you nothing. And you can subscribe to twitch.tv/bossrollin. Subscribing lets you unlock a bunch of emotes and stuff you can use in the chat. You can learn Twitch culture on your own. It's a weird beast. But the point is, the main point, you go there to that URL, twitch.tv/bossrollin. And when I'm playing, you'll see my little face in the corner, and I'll be talking into the microphone and playing the video game at the same time. And you can get a feel for all these new games as I rotate through some of them tonight. I will not be playing Fortnite. Fuck that. You can go watch Cypher play Fortnite if you want to watch somebody good play Fortnite. But I will play the new Warzone Pacific with J-Bone. I will play the new Halo Infinite to show all the old heads like me who grew up on Halo what the new one looks like. And I will throw in some Apex Legends to continue grinding through ranked. But a big week in video games. And in particular, I just wanted to take a moment again to plug our Twitch game here at Bolen Media, because right now, Boss Rollin is the main account, twitch.tv/bossrollin, where I'm playing live a lot. But in the future, when Jared gets time freed up, and as we continue to build out Formula Bone, his F1 brand and podcast here at Bolen Media, go subscribe to Formula Bone and follow everywhere. We've got him a race car set up so that on Twitch he can play, or on YouTube Gaming, whichever one he decides on, whichever ends up being best for his strategy. You're going to be able to tune in and watch him race a car. Now, what we've found is that this game is incredibly difficult, hard, and time-consuming. If you wanted to do the version of it that you were doing, or the game that you had chosen, which it sounds like is a lot like if you do a flight simulator.
I have
like where you have to learn how to actually fly a plane.
I put a lot of the assists on, but I can go through here's what I'm going to do. In the early stages, but I'm just going to say it now. In the off season of Formula One, which starts this Sunday after the race.
Next week, okay.
Literally this Sunday after the race. The off season starts. I'm going to do a full season of me going through a Formula One season.
Beautiful. A la Big Cat with NCAA during the Pandy.
Exactly.
I love that. That's brilliant. That'll be a lot of fun.
It will be very fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
So follow Formula Bone everywhere.
That'll be on Twitch. I already
subscribe.
decided.
Oh, there you go.
Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Formula Bone. Follow Formula Bone on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter. Subscribe or follow on Apple Podcasts. Follow on Spotify. Go to youtube.com/Formula Bone and follow there as well. Support Jared. He's been crushing it with Formula Bone. It's been awesome to see. We're super excited for a lot. There's been F1 fans dragged into our show, to RBP for the first time as a result of how big Formula Bone is getting. So appreciate y'all. Welcome. And for those of you who haven't enjoyed it yet, go enjoy some Formula Bone, and be sure to tune in over the course of this whole week, really, and into next week, and in December as a whole, twitch.tv/bossrollin, where I will be live. And a lot of the times what that ends up being is like, I'll do like stand-up, basically. There'll be like 15, 20 people there, and I'll just start rambling. It's the end of the day. I'm usually unwinding, and I'll start rambling about shit that's like funny to me, but it's unscripted, and there's no podcast pressure, so it's just a purer version of comedy sometimes. And for all the Twitch regulars on Boss Rollin', they will tell you it can get pretty out of control. So come through, enjoy the games and the video gaming, but also the outrageous behavior from yours truly and one Ron Bowler, who often takes over on twitch.tv/Boss Rollin'. Today is also Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. It's also Jared's dog Millie's birthday. Happy birthday to Millie. Amelie. I have to do it every time we bring up Millie. How's Millie doing?
She's doing well. My fiance bought her a dog birthday cake. So,
what is it made of?
Dog food.
Damn, that's fucking She had to eat it over the course of like 6 days.
It looks pretty small.
Oh, was it small?
Like cupcake size.
I was picturing a human-sized birthday cake, like an imbecile.
But when you think about it, like a cupcake is to a dog what like a pretty big cake is to a human.
Yeah. I mean, I won't lie to you. My ex did that with Bruce and Bella when it was their birthdays, and it would kind of weird me out. But that's because my dogs weigh 9 and 11 pounds consecutively, and your dog weighs
45.
So the cupcake was a little large, is what I mean. It was the size of Bella's fucking head. Anyway, she was a wonderful dog mother, just for the record. But yeah, happy birthday to Millie and anybody in the RBP gang who has a birthday this week as well. We will be back soon, but until then, remember, if you see these dogs in your front yard, just know upstairs I'm going hard. Bing Bong.